at the ABA annual convention, and I'm catching up with Jonna Parker, team lead for fresh foods at Circana. And we are going to recap Jonna's presentation, The Boundaryless Consumer. Hi, Jonna, thanks for joining me.
Thanks so much for having me. This has been such a great convention.
Yeah, it's been amazing. So listen, I loved your presentation, and it was followed by an incredible panel. And I guess my first question is, let's talk about this boundaryless consumer. Who is that?
Well, I think we first have to define what the boundaries were, and then it'll be easy to see why they're now removed in the consumer's eyes. So for decades, what we've done when it comes to selling food, in this case baked goods, was a grocery store, right? And for decades, and most of us who've been in the industry, that's what we remember. We remember it being, which supermarket am I going to go to for my breads, my rolls, my cakes, my cookies? However, the first boundary that got removed was the idea of a supermarket is the only place, right? So we've now seen a rise of everything almost but traditional grocery now carrying baked goods and being a primary place that people buy. The other piece is club and specialty stores now, whether you talk about Trader Joe's or Costco, curate a limited assortment. So maybe they don't carry everything a supermarket carries, but what they carry is unique, and what they carry, they know their shoppers, their members really want to buy. And that treasure hunt concept is very popular right now with consumers. And of course, the most popular boundary, which was the anchor of the boundary that we've removed, is even having to go to a store. Right? You can receive baked goods, you can receive hot, fresh baked cookies from a crumble bakery at your doorstep in 10 minutes. So there are almost no boundaries anymore in the consumer's eyes in terms of how you can get baked goods.
So one thing that was really interesting, one of the panelists, Alicia from Nestle, in the coffee division, she brought this unique perspective that was outside of the bakery market. And she had a lot of insight that I think bakery can learn from when it comes to e-commerce. How do you see how coffee's performing in e-commerce kind of translating into bakery?
Absolutely. I think the important thing to state is that in all the grocery categories, and we're talking even about non-edibles like pet food and skincare and shampoo, things that I think the world has really adapted to thinking about online, coffee hangs in the top 5 with those other foods, with those other non-foods. And the reason, as Alicia articulated, is there are elements of the coffee category, in particular K-Cups, which are single serve, that people typically know their brands, their flavors, they know they want to stock up on them. They don't want to have to go to a store for that. And I think what Nestle really did, they leaned into the fact that their shoppers wanted K-Cups online. So then maybe they pivoted and focused on what shoppers wanted online, even though it wasn't just trying to force them to buy everything they buy in store online in the same way. I think the coffee category, exemplified by Nestle, can be a great story for bakers because, again, Nestle wasn't the biggest or the strongest in the category. But by embracing what that boundaryless shopper wanted online and leaning into the ways that you can merchandise differently online, tell your story differently online, maybe even have different flavors and varieties and counts online than your in-store presence, that really allowed them to catapult and not just focus on in-store growth. They had in-store growth while they also had online growth.
Yeah, and that's amazing. And you know, it's kind of exciting because when you remove all of these boundaries for consumers, that creates limitless possibilities for the industry. What are you sort of seeing with taking the boundaries away, takes away the limits for us, for bakers?
I think it's about embracing. We are so blessed in this industry with having so much tribal knowledge, right? So many of us, including myself, have spent a lot of time in the bakery industry, and then we put self-imposed boundaries on ourselves. This is what consumers want. This is how we market it. In the world right now, you can't force people and things and ways to sell in boxes. So you have to lean in and embrace the change. The other blessing, though, that we have is there is more information and more abilities to target and not waste resources. I think a lot of us who've grown up in the industry think about marketing to consumers as this do all things to all people. And the reality is that a very small independent can be just as big of a voice online to the people who are most likely to buy their foods. And now they can just reach the people who they want to reach, whether it's online or by choosing the stores and retailers that those folks want to shop at. So I really feel excited about bakery's future. The other piece that other foods have is, sure, we're perishable, but we were already used to doing DSD. We were already used to baking enough for each store differently. Most packaged goods have this one-size-fits-all mentality. We have thousands of items and varieties and SKUs that are just searching for an audience.
Yep.
This boundaryless consumer lets us just reach those people at the right time with the right message.
Incredible. Well, Jonna, thank you so much for sharing your insights. Your presentation was, as always, chock full of information. It was really great and insightful, and I really appreciate you just sort of following up and catching up with me today.
This has been so much fun. Thank you so much.